Today I'm going to show you how to unwind or let down the mainspring on a size 18 pocket watch. Suppose you bought a pocket watch on eBay or from somebody, flea market or something, and they said, oh, this pocket watch is overwound. Well, what I'm going to do is show you how to unwind that pocket watch. So you might want to figure out how to fix it or see what's wrong with it. Now, I'll be showing you the tools that you'll need to do this project, and also how to make some of the tools that you'll need to let down this mainspring. So first thing I want to do is remove the hands from the pocket watch. I'm going to use my hand lifters, and I put that plastic down to help protect the dial as I do this, because you're going to have to remove this movement from the case. And you don't want to damage your hands on your pocket watch. So we got our hands taken off. We're going to set those aside. The next thing we're going to remove is our second hand. Now again, I put a little piece of plastic over the second hand because sometimes when you pry that up, it goes flying off into nowhere, and we don't want to lose it. That's just a protection for it. So now we're going to take our movement out of the case. Now I'm going to take the movement and I'm going to put it in a movement holder. This is a large movement holder, and it's for a larger size, like size 18 pocket watches, but it would also work for a size 16. Now you notice this one's smaller, and this one's just made for size 16 and smaller, like wrist watches and that type of watch. The size 18 is not going to fit on that. Now, I like using the movement holder because it makes everything more stable, but you don't really need it if you're just going to do this letdown part. But a movement holder is something you really need to invest in if you're going to be working on pocket watches. So this is a full plate movement, and it's the way you let down this movement is there's a little hole that's right below the mainspring barrel. As you can see, I'm taking a needle and pointing to it. And what you do is you insert that needle into that hole. But we're not going to do that yet. We're not going to do that yet. I'm just showing you where you put the needle in. You don't push it in or anything right now. I'm just showing you that, so don't jump ahead of the game here. Now I'm going to show you what happens when you push that needle into that little hole there. It pushes this little lever out of the way, and that's called the click. And what it does is it disengages the gear teeth on that gear there, which is part of the winding mechanism. And if that click wasn't there to hold that gear in place, when you wound your watch, it would just continually unwind. So that's what that gear does. And so what we're going to do, we push it out of the way, and that way we can let down our mainspring. Now the first thing we need to do before we start is we need to dull the end of that needle. We don't want to use a sharp needle. So what I'd take is just a sharpening stone, or you could take a file and dull the tip of that needle, so when you stick it in there, it's not pointed. Next thing you need is some type of letdown tool. Now this is something I bought off of eBay, but if you don't have this, there's several options that you can use, but right now I'll show you how it's done, and I'll tell you more about the options. So we take our needle and we just put it in that hole. We don't press in yet. We take our letdown tool and put it in the hole where the winding stem of the watch would have went. We insert that in there. Then we press in on that needle, and it moves that click and lets it go free. And as it lets it go free, the mainspring is unwinding. You can see how the little letdown tool is turning counterclockwise, but I'm unwinding the mainspring, but I'm controlling how fast the mainspring lets down. If I didn't have that control on it and I pushed in that needle, the mainspring would just unwind real fast, and it with these old watches, it could damage the inner parts that are inside of it. So you want to control how you do this. So I'm going to wind it back up again and demonstrate how I do it the second time. We just take our needle, insert it into that hole, and we don't push it in. We just get it in there. Then we take our letdown tool and then push in on that needle, and that pushes that click out of the way that frees that little gear that I showed earlier. And now you let the mainspring unwind, and that'll let all the tension off your mainspring. And that's how it works. It's very simple. And you'll see the balance, it'll stop spinning here in a few seconds. There it goes, the mainspring's let down. Now if you say your watch is overwound and the mainspring's not turning, there's probably a problem there, but you still want to get the tension off of that mainspring and let that mainspring down before you remove your balance or start taking your watch apart. Now here's a comparison between that size 18 and a 16 size pocket watch. You can see how much larger it is. And you say, well, I don't have a size 18 that I want to let down, but there's at the end of this video, I'll point to another video that I've made that shows how to let down the 16 size pocket watch. And the good thing about the 16 is you don't have to remove it from the case. You can do that with the watch movement inside the case. Now another option is, if you don't have that letdown tool like I have, you can take a pin vise and use a nail or a screwdriver tip and shape it into the size and square size that you need to insert in where the letdown tool would go. Let's look at another type of size 18 watch that doesn't have that little hole, but it has this little lever on the outside that is used for letting down the mainspring. You don't need the needle for that. It's just a little lever that you push out of the way, and you do it that way. What that lever does is just moves that click out of the way and lets that gear freewheel like we talked about before. So here I got my letdown tool in where the stem would go from the pocket watch movement. I took that little piece of wood and I moved that click out of the way, pushed in on that lever, and I'm unwinding the mainspring on this pocket watch. I'll wind it all back up again, and I'll show you again how I did it. So here we're letting down the mainspring again like I did before. When we want to control this let down, we don't want to just push in on that click and let it freewheel the mainspring just go off without controlling it. We'll slowly let it down. These watches are old and we don't want to stress them any more than what needs to be. Now here we have, I'm showing you the that little lever and how it operates, and you can see how I'm pushing it and pushing it out of the way, and that there's that gear, the same gear that was on the other one. It's just a little different setup, but when you push that click out of the way, it lets it freewheel. Now if you have a size 16 pocket watch and you need to let the mainspring down on it, watch this video that I made, and it'll show you how to let the mainspring down on it.